All right, so picture this, right? You're picking the Indian cricket team.
Okay.
Big tournament coming up. Got to make the tough calls.
Yeah.
Stick with the old pros or take a chance on that young gun everyone's talking about.
Big decision. Yeah.
That's kind of what's going on right now. But instead of cricket, it's the Indian stock market, the Sensex specifically, and their big reshuffle coming up.
Right. And it's a big deal. This isn't just some, behind the scenes thing.
Yeah, definitely not.
Happens twice a year. They look at the top 30 companies in India, see who's still got it, who's fallen behind.
So like a report card for these companies.
Basically. And if you're invested, you better believe it matters who makes the cut and who gets left out.
Absolutely. So how do they decide all that? What gets a company into this top 30 club?
So 2 big things, mainly. First one, free float market capitalization. Sounds fancy.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it just means how much of the company's stock is actually available for, regular investors to buy.
Oh, I see.
The more shares out there, the better their chances.
Gotcha. So the more popular a company is with investors, the better their chances of being in the Sensex.
Yeah, you could put it that way. Now, the second thing is liquidity. Basically, how easy is it to buy or sell those shares without causing the price to go haywire?
So it's got to be like a smooth transaction kind of thing.
Right, exactly. You want that market flowing, no log jams. And this time around, 2 companies are really in the spotlight, Trent and Bajaj Finserv.
They're the ones behind those West Side stores, right?
Yep, Westside and Zudio. And their stock, let me tell you, on fire this year.
They've been killing it, haven't they?
Up 160%, no joke. That Zudio brand, they're onto something with that whole affordable fashion thing.
Smart.
Really smart.
Bajaj Finserv, on the other hand, more modest gains.
Right.
Like 19% or something.
Yeah, around there. Which, don't get me wrong, 19% ain't bad.
No, not at all.
It's just, compared to Trent, it's not quite as flashy.
Yeah.
But Bajaj has always been a steady performer, big player in financial services.
Yeah, that's true.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Okay, so we've got a bit of a showdown brewing here.
Yeah, kind of.
The up and cover versus the old reliable. What else are they looking at when they decide who's in and who's out?
Well, remember that liquidity thing we're talking about? So there's this thing called stock turnover, right?
Yeah.
It's basically how often those shares are changing hands. High turnover means a lot of buying and selling, which is actually good. It means there's always someone ready to buy or sell, keeps the price from jumping around too much.
Makes sense.
And guess what? Trent has the edge there too. Their shares are traded more often, meaning they're more liquid, which is a big plus in the Sensex's book.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay, so we've talked about how they pick these companies, but what does it actually mean, for the company itself to make it into the Sensex?
Think of it like you're a young cricketer, right? Suddenly you're on the national team. Everyone knows your name. The pressure's on, but it's a whole new level.
Big leagues.
Exactly. Same idea here. More visibility, more investors paying attention, and yeah, usually a nice boost to their stock price.
Because suddenly everyone wants a piece of them.
Right. Like, remember when Adani Ports got added? Their valuation went through the roof.
I do, yeah. So it's not just about bragging rights.
Not at all.
It's real money.
Big time. And for investors, especially if they're in index funds or ETFs that follow the Sensex, this reshuffle directly affects them.
Yeah, because those funds are basically trying to copy the Sensex.
Exactly. So Trent gets added, those funds got to buy up Trent stock.
Makes sense.
Bajaj gets dropped, they're probably selling, which, that impacts the price too.
Wow, so it's like this chain reaction almost.
Kind of, yeah. Billions of rupees sloshing around based on who the Sensex picks.
Wild. But it's not just about the individual companies though, right? It's whole sectors of the market that are affected by this.
Oh, for sure. Like, look at financials, right? That's Bajaj's territory. And it's a huge chunk of the Sensex right now.
36%, something like that.
Around there, yeah. So if Bajaj is out, that shifts the balance, maybe opens the door for other sectors to get a bigger piece of the pie.
And then there's Trent. If they get in, that's a big win for retail, which right now has zero presence on the Sensex.
Absolutely. And it's not just about Trent. It's a sign, that the whole retail sector in India, especially that affordable segment, it's growing. It matters.
Yeah, it's like the Sensex is saying, hey, we see those Zudio shoppers out there. They're a force to be reckoned with.
Exactly.
But that makes me wonder, even with these changes, does the Sensex, with just 30 companies, really tell the whole story of the Indian economy?
That's the thing, right? It's a good indicator, don't get me wrong, but it's not the whole picture. It's more like the all-star team.
The best of the best.
Yeah, but there's a whole league behind them, right? You get a sense of how things are going, but it's not every single player.
Makes you think.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there's that study about the S&P 500 in the U.S., their version of the Sensex.
Yeah.
I read that they...
Oh, yeah, the do nothing portfolio, right?
Yeah, that's the one. They basically took the S&P 500 from like 1993, just held onto those same stocks for 30 years, didn't change a thing.
Crazy, right?
Sounds kind of irresponsible, but then I guess the market wasn't exactly predictable back then either.
No kidding. And you know what? It actually beat the regular S&P 500 over that time. Less ups and downs, too.
No way. So you're telling me just picking some stocks and forgetting about them for a few decades
Yeah.
is a winning strategy?
Whoa, now, not so fast. It's not quite as simple as that, right? One study, one specific market doesn't mean it's a guaranteed win every time.
All right, it's not like those cricket selectors we were talking about. Just pick a team once and they're set for life. What about, spreading your investments around different companies, different sectors, all that?
Exactly. Diversification, super important. In fact, that same study, they found that if you just picked like the top 10 stocks from that 1993 S&P 500, you would actually done worse than just investing in the whole index.
So it's not about putting all your eggs in one basket, even if it's a basket of seemingly sure things.
Right.
It's more about, I guess, understanding how those companies, those sectors might change over time.
Long game, yeah. Which brings us back to our Sensex showdown, right?
Trent, for Josh and Serve.
Yep. A lot of factors at play, but no matter what happens, it shows you how much things are always moving and shaking in the market.
Definitely keeps things interesting.
Tell me about it.
Well, folks, there you have it. Another Sensex reshuffle on the horizon. Big decisions, big implications for companies and investors alike. December can't come soon enough.
I'm excited to see what happens. And, that do nothing study, it does make you wonder, what if we tried that with the Sensex?
Interesting thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those original Sensex companies held for decades. How would that stack up? Something to think about, right? Maybe the key to beating the market is to, not try to beat it at all.
The ultimate test of patience and maybe a little bit of luck.
Maybe.
Well, on that note, we'll leave you to ponder that.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of the Sensex. It's been illuminating, to say the least. Until next time, keep those stock tickers ticking and those thinking caps on.